for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. Great show coming up. We have Jeffrey Amendola from Amendola Cigars. We hear a little bit about his history, find out how he got to start in the business. Then we'll have our BOTL segment. We talk to Dion from Memphis, Tennessee, find out what he's smoking, find out about some of the local cigar bars or cigar lounges out in Memphis. Then Cigar Man Official gives us his cigar tip of the week. Then we'll head on over to Lubbock and talk to John Curtis, the owner of Smoker's Haven. Shop's been around for over 50 years. Then I'll give you my question and cigar of the week. If you go to our website and click on the contact link and send us the answer to the question, you can win this week's prize, possibly. We have a VBS London luxury leather carry case. It's a 3-finger carry case, super nice. Go by my Instagram account. I'll be posting pictures of it this week until we get a winner. Check it out, super nice. In fact, I even, for a brief moment, thought about keeping it for myself, but you know I don't do that. I like to pass it on to you guys. This week, we got something new. We actually have a sponsor. We want to say thank you. Here's our sponsor. We'll be right back.
Razor Sport. Sports betting is legal. Sports books are opening left and right, and now is your time to beat them all. Razor will show you how the real professionals beat the book consistently. Visit razorsport.com. That's RAZER sport.com for a free trial. How to play, what to play, how to win. Join razorsport.com. Free. That's RAZER sport.com. It's where the winners come to win. It's Razor.
All right, welcome back to Cigar Talk. This is Rob. Today we have a special guest from North Carolina. He makes his own cigars. He's been in the business for quite some time. Very impressive family, Amendola Cigars. How are you doing today, Jeffrey?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're most welcome. We're honored to have you on the show. I'll let everybody know a few weeks back, Mr. Amendola sent me a sampler of all of his cigars, and they were fantastic. In fact, I told him a story earlier that I was raving about his cigars to a good friend of mine, and so he was asking me if I could save him one. And he came over 3 days later and was asking me, hey, man, can I try one of those Amendola cigars? And I had to tell him that I'd already smoked them all. So that's how good they are, guys. So definitely go check him out. So let's talk about how you got into the cigar manufacturing business, Jeffrey. Well, let's go back even further than that. When did you know that you wanted to be a cigar manufacturer?
Okay, so it goes back. I mean, I had the idea, honestly, towards the end of my teen years into my early 20s. I grew up in New York and Massachusetts area. And in New York specifically, there was a cigar factory there in the Bronx I used to sit at and watch guys rolling cigars. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Oh, no kidding.
When my family, yeah, it's right. It's still there, too. It's on Arthur Ave in the Bronx.
Wow. And
that kind of got me thinking, you know, I always thought that is so cool, the tobacco, how they're doing it. And I was watching, this was before I was smoking cigars, but I was watching how everybody was enjoying them, you know, the actual sit down and smoke a cigar. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then when we ended up in Massachusetts, my brother-in-law and I found this little cigar shop. And that's when I just started getting into smoking them myself. And there's a guy rolling cigars in there and every day. And right outside of Boston, and I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, I would love to do this one day with my life.
Wow.
I was thinking more like long-term retirement, you know, go to college, get a job.
How old are you now,
I'm
Jeffrey?
35. I'm
35. Well, I'm glad that you didn't wait until you're retired to start doing this, because we definitely love your cigars. So, you know, if you would have waited till you retired, I may not even still be here, because I'm fixed to be 50. So fortunately
There
for
you
me, you got started early. So
I did.
you fell in love with the cigar industry because you were around it as a young man and you saw the relaxation, the enjoyment, the actual work going into creating a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
at what point did you make that decision and say, yep, that's what I'm going to do?
So I ended up I moved to North Carolina in 2009, kind of on a whim. And I was looking for cigar culture here, and there wasn't any. They had a few sporadic shops here and there, but nothing, not many lounges, no one rolling cigars, no manufacturers. And I needed something to do on the weekends. And I thought, you know what? Let me just start making a presence, being that guy that has cigars,
Nice.
you know? So I actually called the guys in the Bronx and I was like, hey, can I get a good deal on, I need 100 cigars, like fresh rolled, let me kind of pick what wrapper I want and everything. And they're like, yeah, sure. They sent them to me and I started hosting these events at cigar friendly bars or restaurants.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it turned into a monthly thing, bi-weekly. I ended up started doing them every week. And I was like, you know what? I should have my own cigar company. I was like, why would I wait? I have
Absolutely,
this
man.
following. Yeah, I was selling. People were hiring me to host, to set up a cigar bar at their wedding, birthday party, house party. And that following year, I started a legit business, I guess you could say.
And isn't it amazing that once you start following your passion, how things start falling into place?
Unbelievable. I was like, I can't believe people are supporting me.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're supporting you because you love the industry and you love the work and you love the people that are involved. And I mean, it's funny that, when you go out and start a business that's really not your passion, it's just work. But when you're doing what you love, man, that love just goes out into everybody and they open their arms for you.
Yeah, it's a whole nother ball game. And I actually got to the point where, I don't know if anyone else has ever done this before. It was almost like an Uber service for cigars.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Like Uber Eats, but like Uber cigars.
Right.
So I didn't have a store location or anything. I was working out of my house. And I would have people call me, like find my website. They're traveling to Durham, Raleigh area. They say, oh, we'd love to pick up your cigars. I said, well, I don't sell them anywhere, but I'll deliver them to you or leave them somewhere. So I would end up actually delivering bundles and cigars to restaurants, golf courses.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. I grew out of that real quick because I got out of hand.
Yeah, well, my other question is, so when you first got started in this way of doing the cigar business, kind of like on the side, what was your actual real job at the time?
Oh, I was, right. I moved here and I became a City of Durham police officer.
Wow. So you went from wearing the badge to selling cigars.
Yeah, exactly. Selling cigars out of the trunk of my police car there for a minute.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
How long was it after you started that you were able to say, you know what, this is what I want to do full time, and you were able to leave the police force?
Yeah, so towards 2014, 2013, that's when I started my own cigar factory here. So I was still working as a cop. That lasted only about a year because I couldn't manage, we had a cigar factory, just 2 rollers, but I started getting wholesale accounts and I left the department as a detective in 2015.
Wow.
So, and fall of 2015, I just had to make a decision. I was kind of at one of those points in my life too, where I was not happy. I had a good experience, learned a lot, and I was miserable.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you were doing well at the police force too, if you'd already made detective. So
yeah, I did. I made it really quick, 6 years.
Right. So you were doing a good job, but it just wasn't following your passion.
No, not at all. And then it got to a point where, like I said, I was starting to freak out because I'm driving around. I had a take-home car, but I have to like lug cigars in the back. I'm like, I can't be doing this.
Right.
This is not good. So I had to make a decision. 2015, I left. I said, here we go, step of faith. I'm going to be full-time into cigars. And 4 years later, here we are.
Tell us about your family. I've seen pictures. I'm assuming that's your wife?
Yeah, my wife. I have a wife and 4 kids altogether.
All right. So how was the wife when you told her, you know what, I'm done being a policeman, a detective, and now we're going to be a cigar family?
You know what? She's been very supportive, actually. She honestly hated my career at the time. She could tell how miserable it was making me, and we had that caused a lot of issues within our own family and relationship. So she was very, she smoked cigars and she would come to events with me. So it was scary, but she knew it was my passion, and I'm a hustler. So whatever I do, I'm gonna do it.
Well, the thing about it is, and I see it all the time with people in different businesses, but if they're passionate about it, man, they've got so much hustle that they're doing it 24/7, it seems like. So it really makes it a lot easier when you're in love with what you're doing, and it makes it better for your home life too.
Yeah, right. It doesn't stop, and we've had our ups and downs.
So, Jeffrey, how long have you been married?
We've been married for about 8 years. I got married in 2011.
Okay, great. And you have 4 children?
Yes.
Boys, girls?
2 boys, 2 girls.
Awesome.
16, 14, 7, and 4.
Now, are the girls teenagers?
No. Oldest son is 16, daughter 14, son 7, and daughter 4.
That's awesome, man. I love the family.
Yeah.
So, how involved is your family in the business?
Well, right now, so I always tell people I'm first generation cigar manufacturer from my family, really. My kids are somewhat involved, especially my son Rocco, the 7-year-old.
Right.
Really, just because, and my youngest, because they're with me a lot.
Okay.
A lot more, and they just help. They help with what I do here in my office.
Oh, that's great.
They move tobacco around when I need it, and my wife she has her own job now, so somewhat not as involved as she was originally. But
right. Well, what a great experience for your children to see you putting in the passion in the work.
Exactly. The plan is to keep doing this business, to build it to a point where when they are ready, if they want it, it'll be there for them to take on.
Well, I think that's a great legacy you're building.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you're smoking today.
I'm smoking. This is I took a lot of time blending this cigar. This is the Amendola. I call it the Amendola Special, but it's a 6x54 Oscuro Maduro. The wrapper is from Ecuador, and the binder is it's a double Maduro in a sense, because the binder leaf is also a Maduro.
Oh, okay.
It's a Habano seed, so it's a little bit different strain there. And it's very complex, and then the filler is all Nicaraguan.
Okay.
From Jalapa and Esteli, and it's really well balanced.
I was gonna say it's a full body smoke though, right?
It's a full body cigar, but it's not. I don't like to make cigars that really
knock you down.
Feel, woozy.
Right.
So it's definitely complex and full of flavor, but it's not going to be something that will.
You could smoke. You could smoke in the afternoon and not worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a real nice, rich profile. But when I smoked it, I noticed it wasn't something that's going to knock you down. You could definitely smoke it in the afternoon. You don't necessarily have to be on a full stomach like you have to be with some full-bodied cigars. And so I just say job well done, man. You've really put the time in to make a great product.
Thank you.
Have you been as far as going down and blending? I assume you've been all over.
Yeah, well, a little bit. So, we stopped producing cigars in North Carolina we were doing everything here up until 2017.
Oh, wow.
So I formulated a lot of my blends here. I had the last roller that worked for me, his name is Kiko. He kind of helped me really define what profile I liked and felt really comfortable with putting out there. So I took those blends and we ventured out to a factory in Dominican Republic in Nicaragua first and started producing there for about a year.
Okay.
In 2017. We changed a few things. Long story short, that didn't work out. Business a lot of middlemen. Yeah.
The business associates that are not always what they're up to be.
Exactly. That was part of it. A lot of it was I went from doing everything myself to kind of entrusting other people in another factory that was in another country.
Yeah, well,
So
I say
I
you
was
can
there,
chalk that up to some experience. You
yes,
learned a big lesson there. So,
absolutely. I mean, I spent time there, it was great, but long story short, it wasn't a good business fit.
right.
Um, that's when about a year and a half ago, I was telling you the other day, I met Dr. Gabby Caffey 1901
Right, right.
on a whim because we lost production and I was freaking out because I was like, well, I don't have a cigar factory in North Carolina anymore. I mean, I still roll at events, but I can't roll 5,000 cigars in a month. And
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we had the factory in the DR in Nicaragua wasn't gonna, we weren't gonna do business with them anymore. So I'm like, geez, I need product. I'm worried about my blends. I want them to be at least the same or better, the quality of tobacco. And luckily, somebody introduced me to Dr. Caffey, and we talked on the phone. 2 weeks later, we were making cigars together. So
Oh, that's great, man.
yeah,
What a great time to meet a great man that was willing to extend the olive branch, so to speak.
yeah, oh yeah, huge blessing, and he's been a mentor and good friend since then.
Well, and it's so nice to have the cigar community that is just out there to help you and
Yeah,
bring you up. And I tell you, I would highly suspect that he was willing to lend a helping hand to you because he knows how passionate you are and how much work you've put into the business.
yeah, and that's the exact thing he said. He's like, normally, we don't take on. He's really only producing himself, one or two other brands out of there. But he's like, I see, you're passionate, you love what you do, you've been in it for a while. Let's do it, make it happen. And the greatest thing for me was also the fact that not only can we produce cigars there, but there's a box factory there. We have access to label makers and printers
Yeah, I
all
had
in all
asked
in
you
one
about
spot.
that.
Yeah. So it's a one stop shop in the factory, and it's
What a
wow.
blessing that is, huh?
Yeah. So you don't have to. The biggest thing with Gabby was, no middlemen. We don't have to outsource. Everything's right here.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
great.
that a lot of small businesses, especially boutique brands, can't always say that. So I think that's a huge blessing for us to have that.
Well, back when you sent me all the sampler pack of all your cigars, what was one of the things that I told you that I loved was
Mm,
that you have a great cigar, you have a great product, but you didn't put a cheap looking
right.
band on it. It was a beautiful band, which, in my opinion, if you have a great cigar, it should have an appropriate band,
I
and you
agree.
definitely hit it out of the park with your band, your
Well,
box,
thank you.
everything looks great, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, so I wanted to take people on a little journey here, and let's go back. I saw that you'd post on Facebook some photos from, I'm going to guess probably from the 90s, just by the pictures, but there was a woman in these pictures that were actually rolling cigars, and it looked like, where was she rolling cigars at?
Oh, actually, no. She was okay. So she was one of my first cigar rollers from Cuba.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I met her on a whim in let's see, when was that? Early 2000s.
Okay.
Well, no, no, I'm sorry. What year is it now? 2019. Yeah, right when I moved down there and I started toying with the idea of doing cigars, I was doing an event at a cigar shop, and the next day she walked in and was looking for work. And she just moved from Cuba, and somebody gave her my number, and she ended up working for me. And that was a photo we took in the factory. It looks old, but it was from 2011, 2012.
Oh, okay. Just had that nostalgia look to it, and the fact that she had come from Cuba where she rolled cigars, and now
Yes.
she's rolling cigars in your factory. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, unbelievable. But I think what I also posted, and what you might be thinking of is the woman that actually taught me how to roll cigars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, so she is actually super well. I mean, she's well known. She's also Cuban. She's based out of Ybor City in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And her name is Odelma Matos. Her brand is called La Farona.
Oh, she has her own brand.
Yeah, so she has a factory in Ybor City. She only makes she only sells what she makes in there, her and her family. I went down there just to check out the scene and to see how people did this back in around 2011, 2012. And I met her and I said, I saw her rolling in a window. And I went in the shop and she had a bunch of rolling tables back there. I said, I don't know if you do this, but would you be willing to teach me how to roll cigars? I said, I know tobacco. I've been teaching myself about, blending and regions and all that. But I was like, I really need someone to sit down with me and teach me. And she said, yeah, I put those tables in to teach a class. You'd be my first student. So pick 2 weeks and come back. And I said, okay, I'm there.
Wow,
And,
that's amazing. And
yeah, they took me in.
to see people rolling cigars, for those of us, which is the majority, have no idea how to roll cigars.
Right.
It's an amazing skill that, just watching someone roll a cigar to me is amazing.
Yeah. And I felt like, look, I was getting really involved in this. Like, this has become my passion all of a sudden. And I was like, I really need to know how it works. I need to be able to do it. I don't want to.
Yeah, you want to learn. You wanted to learn the right way.
Yes. I didn't want to just be like a guy that has his own brand and somebody else does all the work. I mean, you get to that point eventually, but I wanted to know the ins and outs, touch the tobacco myself, train myself in the craft so I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And I could go take that with me and showcase it, what I learned, what I dedicated to my craft. This is what I do. And
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of these days, we're going to get together and you're going to show me how to roll a cigar. Although I will probably not be able to master it myself, but I would love, I would love just you to sit down and show me how it actually works.
Yeah, man, for sure.
What do you have up and coming in the near future?
Yeah, so near future, it looks like the plan is to relocate to Miami and do all of my distribution out of Miami. Work more closely with Kathy in the factory as a factory representative.
Okay.
And, have you heard of the Boutique Cigar Association of America, BCAA?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so that's something Gabby Kathy has spearheaded, and it allows boutique brands to join and fall under one umbrella where we really support each other and as an association get more reach, small boutique companies. And that's been really helpful for me. So having that there, we've already have met, and I won't really expound, but we've met distributors and potential buyers from all over the world that want to hopefully buy our product and distribute internationally. So
I think that's a huge market coming up, especially with the boutique cigars in general, because I think a lot of cigar smokers, we start out on the general brands that everybody's heard of and, the marketing dollars that built those brands up. But the thing about it is, over the years, I hate to say they've lost the quality control, but they're just making cigars massive. And so when we go to these boutique cigars, it's like you're getting a quality product that people are still passionate about. And so I think that the market in general is starting to really recognize that boutique cigar. So I think having a boutique association is
it really
a great
is.
start for you
awesome.
guys.
I'm excited. Just already, I'm excited about what they could bring to the table. So yeah, that's what's happening. We're thinking about doing the IPCPR. That's still up for debate on if that's something we want to invest in and partake in, or continue to get on the road ourselves. And
now, would you be going as Amendola, or would that be under the umbrella of the Boutique Association?
it could be both. It could be a few of the brands that want to participate. We go in and get a booth together and just represent ourselves. Share a large booth.
I see.
And, you walk in and we're I think that's where we're gonna need to be in the near future. So hopefully we could do it this year. If not, definitely next year. But
I see. So I read an article. I wanted to get your opinion on this. I saw an article earlier today, actually, and I believe it was on February 12th, that a senator has brought a bill to the floor in the United States to lift the embargo in Cuba. And so I was just curious, from your point of view, what would that do if they do lift the embargo? What would that do to the cigar market in the United States?
Long term, it'll help the cigar sales in the United States because I don't think Cuban cigars are what they used to be. Yeah, I think if the embargo is lifted, put it this way, Cuba has a hard time keeping up with their production now, selling to the other parts of the world. Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's what I was thinking. If they open up to the largest cigar market in the world,
honestly,
there's
I feel
no
like
way they're going to be able to.
It'll flop, and then it'll help us out.
I see. Well, and I the other thing that I thought would be helpful is maybe once and for all, we can do away with the myth that the Cuban cigars are the best.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because now nobody gets Cubans, and they all have this mythical thought process that Cuban cigars are the best. So I think that would be finally people would be like, "Oh, I had a Cuban, and you know, it was a good cigar, but it wasn't near as good as what I thought it was."
And I was in Germany last year with Passion Puro and Dr. Caffey at the Intertabac trade show, and I got to meet a lot of distributors out there, and they have a lot of complaint. They've been dealing with Cuban cigars since day one, but their consumers and customers are complaining about consistency problems, draw issues, quality of tobacco with the Cuban market. So they're not.
Yeah, and I've heard from some different people in the industry that said one of the biggest problems with Cuba is that they destroyed their soil as far as growing tobacco because they don't ever change up the crop. So it's just constantly being beat down and losing those great quality.
They probably have some of the best cigar rollers in the world. I truly believe that, the people that I left, the workers there, the cigar rollers there are extremely skilled and trained, but I think it's hard to produce quality when the tobacco isn't up to par.
Right. So what you're saying is that you'll get a great rolled cigar. It'll smoke great. You're just missing out on some of those unique flavors that are coming from, or profiles that are coming from Nicaragua. And
you'll miss out on that consistency as well.
I see. I got you. Okay. So in the future, where do you see your distribution?
Yeah. So, immediately, I want to obviously continue in the American market. I had my own cigar shop for a while, so I wasn't able to really push my wholesale and my distribution the way I wanted to until this past year. I see, we want to double, triple our accounts this year. But I also feel pretty positive about an international market. Yeah, just from being at the trade show in Germany.
Okay.
There's still a process for me to get my blends registered with Europe and Asia, but that's in the works. And really, I'm looking for cigar shops and lounges across the States that will give my brand a shot and try it out.
Well, after smoking the sampler that you sent me, I've definitely been, I've been mentioning your cigars to other people.
Yeah, right.
I put you in contact with some of them. So anybody that I talk to, I definitely tell them about your cigars because, I love a good product and it's not just the product, it's also the man behind the family of cigars. So, man, you impress me with what you do. So if anybody wants to find out about Amendola Cigars, I know he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram.
Yeah, the website.
You also have a website?
AmendolaFamilyCigars.com.
Okay, so they can reach out to you there, find out about your distribution for other shops. So I definitely want you guys to check out what he's doing. He's definitely got the passion, the knowledge, and the skills to put out a great product. I couldn't tell you how great they were when I smoked them. So definitely props to you, brother.
It's encouraging.
Well, hey, just keep after it. I know you will because you have the passion. My big question now is, when are you going to come to Texas?
It's a great idea. You know what? I want to go to Texas when I could really make an impact with the brand. I sell in one or two shops in the Houston area, and I'm looking to expand the Texas market. Once I do that, I want to come every other month and do events. You can show me around.
Awesome. Oh, I will, brother. I'll tell you what, you need to really have somebody as a rep, maybe even in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's countless shops over there, and they have so many good shops. I think your cigar would be a good fit in quite a few of those shops over there.
I agree. Big market down there, so hopefully that is going to happen soon.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, is there anything else you want to add to the show?
No, not really. Just, thank you, Rob, for having me here, and whoever is listening, thank you for taking the time to listen to my story and where I come from and what I do. Hopefully you can appreciate one of our cigars here sometime soon. And if there's anything I can do for anybody, please let me know. Reach out.
All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
And just in case you guys don't know, you got to go by his Instagram account. Not only does he make beautiful cigars, but he wears some awesome hats.
The hat game is strong.
Oh man, and he's got a great tattoo on his forearm. He's got the seal of his cigars on his forearm. I love the tattoo, and you just got that cool look, man. So if this, and this is just a joke, so all kidding. If it doesn't work out for you in the cigar industry, I think GQ might be calling.
I'll need something. Somebody better call me.
No, I know you're going to be very successful, and I wish you all the luck. And if you ever need anything from us, man, you know we're here for you.
Thanks, Rob.
So tell us what you're smoking tonight, brother.
Well, tonight I am actually smoking the Drew Estate Undercrown.
Oh, that's a good smoke, man.
I'm a big fan of Drew Estate. You know, they never do me wrong. They never do me wrong, and I really enjoyed the stick. Real full body, and especially on a rainy night like tonight, me sitting out here on the porch listening to the rain and watching it, and it's a little chilly out, but it makes me feel all warm inside.
Oh, that's awesome, man. What's the temperature out there where you are?
Temperature tonight is right at 35.
Oh, okay. Well, you're sitting out in the chilly evening.
Well, I got a little heat near me. You know, I always got a little heat somewhere near me, so it's as it usually is. Somewhat Memphis weather can go up and down. You know, some days it could be 80, and then tomorrow it'd be 30. So we have the most interesting winters that go real crazy. So, you know.
Yeah, that sounds like Texas weather, man. We get rain, wind, snow all in one day. So down over there in Memphis, like, are there any cool cigar bars or lounges that you go hang out at?
Well, actually they are. And the thing about it is that Memphis is becoming a real niche cigar spot, actually. There are probably maybe like 5 or 6 good cigar spots, and now you're starting to see a lot of places become. We're seeing that the cigar lifestyle and culture is growing bigger and bigger. Like as right now, we're going to have this festival called Cigar, Cars, and Cognac.
Oh wow, that's cool.
This is the third year doing that. That's very big. There's a new festival that's coming in June, around June 15th, that I'm happy to be a part of with 2 great guys. Reginald Moulton, he's from the East Coast near New York and D.C., and then you have Prez Edwards, he's here from Memphis, and they came together and they made this great festival song called the Southern Smoke.
Oh, very cool.
It's going to be great. Then you have the Bill Street Smoke Festival. That's every Labor Day weekend. And you have the Memphis Smoke that's brought to you by Tinderbox.
Wow, very cool,
and,
man.
As far as the great shops are concerned, I think what makes Memphis different is because when you think of Memphis, you think of barbecue, but you also think of music.
Oh, and yeah, absolutely.
A lot of these particular shops here they believe in live music. You know, there's another spot that just opened up called the G Spot where they have live music. Havana Mix, which is now Robusto, they was featured on Bar Rescue, the TV show Bar Rescue, where the guy that goes into the club, where he did an episode where he did a cigar lounge.
Okay. And
the cigar lounge was actually here in Memphis.
Oh, nice.
Now it's called Robusto. It's located off Bill Street. Burning Desires, Tinderbox is a great franchise. They put on the Memphis Smoke. And then we have our own hometown cigar company called Belief, made by 2 brothers, Jason and Antonio Gardner. They actually hand roll their cigars.
Oh, very cool, man. Yeah, I was
located near the Graceland near Elvis Presley.
okay. You know, I was in Memphis. Oh man, probably at about 1998. I went down to Bill Street. We ate at some barbecue joint right there on Bill Street, and it was a really cool place. I only got to stay there for 1 day and 1 night, and then we left the next day. I was actually working, but it was a really cool experience going down to Bill Street and going to a real cool barbecue place. And I don't know if it was like a tourist place or if it was like the real deal, but it was fantastic.
We are home of the barbecue. I would tell you, Rob, you should come to Memphis in May. Memphis in May is probably one of the biggest festivals around the world. We celebrate a different city each year, usually an international city. But what makes this one unique is that we're celebrating Memphis, our own city of Memphis, which will be turning 200 years old.
Oh, wow, man. That's cool.
And the third week of Memphis in May, we have the International Barbecue Competition. Imagine 500 to 1,000 people competing for bragging rights to say who have the best barbecue in the world.
Wow.
I mean, smelling that smoke from the river is the most awesome stuff.
Right. That's going to be cool. So, what do you do there in Memphis?
Well, currently I work as a packaging engineer for a medical device company, but my biggest passion, believe it or not, is working with my cigar crew group that I started about 10 years ago. We have the Cigar Crew Memphis, and we have other cigar crews around other cities. We have a Cigar Crew Dallas.
Yeah, you were telling me y'all have cigar crews all over the nation, like all the cities.
Yes, we do. And it's good networking, and right now, hopefully, we're trying to work out something with Cigar Crew Nashville. Hopefully, we can put something together for the NFL draft that's coming up in April, which will be actually in Nashville this year.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
We're going to see if we can put together a nice little smoking session. I had a great time at the draft last year, actually in Dallas. I attended that one, so I was like, man, it's a good feel and stuff. And you can never get enough of football and cigars. So
hey, man, so when you were at the draft in Dallas last year, did you see how that Eagle player dissed on the Cowboys so bad? Were you there for that?
No, I did not get a chance to see that. I arrived the opening day, that Thursday. We went out to Arlington. I remember on the way there, the big news was that Dez Bryant was just released by the Cowboys.
Right.
And I went to the Star out in Frisco. My brother and sister took me out there to the Star, and they saw that they just drafted the linebacker. Was it Vandenbosch?
Oh, Xander. What's his name? Xander F.
Xander.
Something like that.
And when I went, and it's funny when I went.
Okay, no, I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you. It's Vander Esch.
Vander Esch. There you go, Vander Esch. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? When they drafted him, I was like, what's going on? I never even heard of this kid. And I tell you what, man, he turned out to be a heck of a linebacker.
There was nothing more fun being in Dallas, listening to that draft being made, and watching other Cowboys fans' faces. And everybody was like, how you feel? What are they doing?
Yeah, exactly, man.
We were thinking, they need a receiver. What are they doing?
Yeah, it was like, we don't have a receiver. But then they went out and got a great receiver from the Raiders. What's that kid's name?
Oh, yeah.
He's young, too. He's like, I think, 25 years old.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
That kid is awesome, man. And, everybody was griping that they gave up a number 1 pick for him. But I tell you what, it sure looks good now that it's turned out the way it has with that kid playing for us.
Oh, man, I can't wait for a full year of him and Dak working together.
Oh, I know. And
I think it's going to be great.
We'll see what they do this season. But anyway, so how long you been smoking cigars, man?
Oh, man. Right now, this will be year 23.
23. Well, how old are you?
I am 43.
43. So wow, right? You started at 20, and that's nice, man.
My first one was in college. I turned purple like crazy and green.
Nice, nice. Well, I guess I haven't actually been smoking cigars that long. I started, I think, probably somewhere around 2012. So that's only about 7 years. And the way it got started, me and a buddy, Tim Rickman out of Lubbock, Texas, me and him were close friends, and I'd come into town because I was living down in Houston, and we would go out and grab a cigar at a local shop and go sit back and smoke cigars and have a drink. And it was just one of those casual things that we did. We really didn't know what we were doing. And then all of a sudden, one time we went out and got a cigar, and it was a Christoph, and it just did something for me, and I loved it. And the next day I went and bought a whole box because I fell in love with them. And ever since then, man, I've been smoking cigars like it's going out of style.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's like yoga. I think Steve Harvey described it as yoga. It's a peace of mind. Like right now, I feel like I'm having a peace of mind. It is something right now, even just sitting on patio and just listening to the rain.
Oh,
and
man.
Sometimes I will have a little music in the background or something like that. Maybe some Miles Davis or...
oh, man, I love me some Miles Davis, brother.
I might throw some Frank Sinatra in every now and then, and
yeah,
just sit back and just, chill and have a good smoke,
Hey, well, Dion, I'll tell you, I don't know if you're a fan of the band, but if you like Miles Davis and you like Frank Sinatra, I highly recommend some Pink Floyd.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You got to check it out. It's real relaxing music. It's a lot of people might say it's psychedelic, and I don't really see it that way, but they're not like any other rock band, and they do a real relaxing style music, and the instruments are played like perfectly, and so you got to give yourself an opportunity to listen to some Pink Floyd. In fact, I would recommend starting out with Pink Floyd, The Wall. Or The Dark Side of the Moon. Man, that's a great cigar smoking. Okay. In fact, one of the albums, they have a cigar song, and you'll hear that sometime. I'll play it on the show. But anyway, try them out. I'm a big fan of Sinatra. I'm a big fan of Miles Davis. But as far as relaxing music, I think if you like those two, you'd probably enjoy some Pink Floyd as well.
I'm going to check it out. The Wall, and the other one was?
Dark Side of the Moon.
The other album, Dark Side of the Moon. I'm going to check it. I'm putting it in the rotation. I like to quiz the cigar group about certain things, and you just gave me an idea to try to come up with the perfect cigar soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Some type of musical, cigar soundtracks are just something wonderful, just a mixture of music.
Hey, speaking of Miles Davis, have you ever heard that song, Backseat Betty?
Yes.
Man, I love that bass playing in the song in that background whenever Miles starts playing that trumpet, dude, and that bass is just thumping, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But then it opened it up for me to start listening to other jazz artists. Like I was unaware the former basketball player, late Wayman Tisdale, was a bassist and a jazz musician.
Oh, really?
And yes, when he retired from the game, his best friend was Toby Keith.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Because Wayman Tisdale was a big-time college superstar at Oklahoma.
Okay. So
Toby Keith was Oklahoma. So he looked at him real big and stuff like that. And he was a bass guitarist. At one point, I think he either had diabetes or had a car accident. He had to amputate one of his legs, but he still kept playing until his death. But he had some great jazz music. It's something you gotta just check it out.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Look up Wayman Tisdale. Wayman Tisdale.
I'll definitely check it out, man. I'm a big music buff, and a lot of times I'm hanging out in my cigar shed and just, smoking a cigar and listening to some good music and just relaxing, man. It's I love some good music.
It is. And that's the beauty about Memphis and cigars. the way it brings music and the cigars together. It brings people together. It forces that conversation. I've traveled to different places, and whenever city I go to, for me to gauge a city, I have to go visit a cigar lounge.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I feel comfortable, and then I get a niche to it. I remember I went to a cigar lounge in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the Uptown area. I went in, got a cigar, and, I'm very talkative, when I introduce myself, but everybody was looking on their phones. They was isolated, looking on their phones. And I said, okay, something different for me.
Yeah.
Because where I come from, we put the phones down and actually have a conversation. And that's somewhat, it's just the romantic part about cigars, is that people will say, well, was it the cigar? Well, the cigar was good, but the moment, you want the moment to still be there. And I've had times I've sat there all night with my friends having great conversations, smoking cigars, not realizing I smoked about maybe 3, 4, I got to tell the truth, 4 cigars.
Hey, man, I like that. It sounds like me and you need to hang out and smoke cigars together.
We do.
Well, hey, man, I don't know if I can make it up there in May. I would love to come out there for the celebration of Memphis. That sounds like that would be awesome. But if I can't make it up there, I'll definitely let you know when I'm going to be out that way, and we will meet up at the cigar lounge. And first cigar's on me, brother.
Hey, that sounds great. And you're still in the Dallas area?
I'm actually in Abilene, Texas. I'm about 2 hours west of Dallas area, but I'm up in Dallas area quite a bit.
Okay.
So if you ever get out this way, let me know.
I'm on my way from there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Absolutely, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk to you soon. Oh yeah, man. I'm honored to have you on the show, and thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the rain and the cigar, and listen to some of that good Pink Floyd I turned you on to.
Hey, it's a winner.
All right, man. Hey, stay in touch, and we'll talk soon.
All righty.
All right, take care, Dion. Welcome back to Cigar Talk. This is Rob. We're with special guest today, John Curtis, the owner of Smokers Haven in Lubbock. Great place. I've been coming here for a number of years. Really, I was excited to come back here because this is kind of where it all started for me back in the 80s. They used to have a shop in the mall in Lubbock, Texas, and that's where I was introduced to tobacco, and I actually used to smoke clove cigarettes. Remember those?
Oh, yeah. Sure do.
And so as a young man back then, that was kind of cool. Love the smell of it still today. I don't smoke them anymore, but still love the smell. So how are you doing today, John?
Yep, doing fine.
Well, we really appreciate you having us here today and giving us the time, and we'd love to hear about how you got in the business and how you got started.
Originally, I'm a second generation. My mom and dad are the ones that actually started the store. Opened the first store we had back in 1968, August of 68. So it's kind of crazy. My dad, prior to that, was in the wholesale tobacco business.
Okay.
He drove a panel van selling cigars.
Wow.
on about a 100-mile radius of Lubbock.
You got pictures of that panel van?
No, I wish.
Oh, man, I'd love to see those.
So, but
what area did he travel?
It's about 100 miles from here. He'd go up
all
to
around
Amarillo,
Lubbock.
Yeah, even down to Abilene, San Angelo.
Okay.
Like I say, just about 100 miles. And that back then, your grocery stores, they carried a lot of the pipe tobacco and cigars.
Oh, really?
And he'd go in and sell it and check for freshness. And if they weren't fresh, they would swap them out and keep fresh product on the shelves, even in the grocery stores.
Wow, times changed.
Oh, yeah, sure has.
So they opened in 68?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's 51 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
wow.
We celebrated our 50th anniversary in August last year.
Wow, congratulations.
So, well, thanks.
And at what point did you decide that you were going to go ahead and go into the family business?
Oh, man. I worked in it all my life, even in high school. I was in a co-op program, distributive education. And so I worked at the shop then, even prior to that. But I guess when I was put officially on the payroll was like 1973, 74.
So you've been in the business almost the whole time.
Yeah, I was 10 when they opened the shop up, and back then it was more pipes were the big thing, not so much the cigars, but the displays that we had our pipes on, we had handmade those. They were wrapped with cloth and had the pipe clips, and so when I was 10, 11 years old, I was building the shelving and the displays for the shop.
So you were 10 when you started in the shop, but so here's the question for you. When did you smoke your first cigar or pipe?
Oh, gosh, I probably jacked one of my dad's cigars when I was probably 12, something like that. But
well, I was talking to a young man a couple of weeks ago, and he told me that he had taken one of his dad's cigars out of the box whenever he was 10 and took it out in the backyard to smoke it. I asked him what he cut it with, and he said kitchen knife.
Yep.
But I would imagine you knew what you were doing since you worked in the shop.
Yeah, I had a pretty good idea what I was doing, but talking about like the using the kitchen knife, years ago, I had bought my dad it was a Dunhill cigar cutter. And it was, the 14 karat gold. And it was pretty pricey, retail for, I don't know, $250 or something. I had given it to him, and he always carried it in his pocket, but I never saw him use it. And when he would smoke his cigar, he'd get it, and he'd get the head of it kind of wet, moisten it up. He'd pull out a big pin out of his pocket and just slightly drill a little hole.
Really?
Yeah. And I asked him, I said, Dad, I got you that good cutter. Weren't you using it? And he said, boy, this is my cigar, and I'll smoke it the way I want. I said, yes, sir. So,
tell me about like in the moving process. I know you were in the mall at one time because that's where I started.
Right.
And then you had some other shops throughout town, and so but now you're ended up. What is this? 58th?
Yeah, 60th Street.
60th Street.
Yeah.
And so you've moved over here. How's the new location been for you?
Yeah. Oh, it's really kind of changed the way that the shop is ran. When we were in the mall, that store was like 850 square feet, and it was nothing more than all retail shopping. We had a walk-in humidor in the back. Well, originally we had a 50 count wall unit.
Really?
Humidor. Yeah.
Wow.
That was back in '72 when we opened that store up. And then through the course of the years, the cigar industry grew, and so we grew with it and put in a walk-in humidor. But like I say, the shop at the mall was mainly built to get people kind of in and out. It wasn't as much customer rapport relations, and that's kind of sad. But I think that's the way the mall was. You just had to
people
your
ran
sales,
right,
yeah. And because the rent was crazy.
Oh yeah, and 850 feet seems small, but whenever I went in there, it seemed like a huge place because I was so young.
Right.
But I just remember always walking in there and just loving the smell of the tobacco pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I remember most about the place was all the pipes. Y'all had a lot of pipes.
Oh yeah, I think that in the heyday we had like 100 dozen pipes on display.
100 dozen?
Yeah.
Wow.
1,200 pipes or so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So over here at your new location on 60th, is it balanced or is it still more pipe or is it more cigars?
No, it's by far more cigars.
Okay.
Probably about 80% of the business is in the cigar side of it.
So when did you see that part of the market change as you've been in the business all these years?
There was a cigar boom. It seemed like that should have been around the late 70s, early 80s, 78 to, say, 1982.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that, there were some, like, TV shows out, and there were actors, smoking cigars, and that's about the same time that the magazine Cigar Aficionado came out.
Oh, okay.
And so, from there, it just kind of just exploded. And when that happened, that's when we actually increased the number of stores that we had. We've had, at one time, a total of 6 stores. We had 3 of them here in Lubbock. We had 2 out in Tucson, Arizona.
Wow.
And another one in Albuquerque. And that is when my other brothers and sister were involved in the stores.
Okay.
I had a brother that was stationed at Davis Monthan Air Base in Arizona.
Okay.
And after he did his stint in the service is when we opened up the first store. A couple of years later, we opened up a second one there.
So did you get to go out there?
Oh, yeah. Back then, I was this was right after I graduated high school. And I was kind of bummed because, my two older brothers, they managed the store. One in Tucson, one in Albuquerque. My sister here in town, she ran one of the stores, and her husband ran another one. And the mall location was actually, we had a non-family member that was a manager there. It was a lady that had worked for us for years. But I had came to my folks and I said, hey guys, I need a title. I need
Yeah.
I'm working in the shops. Everybody else has got a manager title or so ever. And so I got designated as the regional manager of Smokers Haven. And my region was Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Oh, so the whole the whole chain.
Yeah.
It was
that was kind of neat.
That is cool. What a great history of growing up in the business.
Yeah, we when the stores first started out, I told you my dad was in a wholesale business, and in I guess it was '68, my mother's mom passed away, and Mom and Dad, they inherited $500.
Wow.
And that's what they used to start the stores with.
No kidding.
It was $500.
That's crazy.
So, and like I say, it grew to 6, and just through attrition, we're down to this one location now.
Right. So, tell me about what we're smoking. You've been gracious and given me an Ashton Symmetry, which I've never smoked before. Tell me about this cigar a little bit. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, okay. The cigar itself, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually made by my father's cigar factory.
Okay.
It's Ashton has been around forever. Ashton, their cigars are known more for a little bit on the milder side, just the regular Ashton Classic. The Symmetry, to me, has got a little bit more flavor, and out of all the cigars that we carry in the shop, this happens to be my number one favorite cigar.
This your go-to?
Yeah. I can walk in there and look around, and if nothing jumps out at me, it's Ashton Symmetry.
Well, I can't imagine being at the shop every day. Well, I kind of can because I'm at my shop pretty regular. But when you're here every day, you walk into the cigar shop, you ever get like, I want to try something new, and then it takes forever. You can't find anything you haven't had, or at least you haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
And then you always end up going back with your go-to.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that, that even happens on the consumer side. The cigar smokers, a lot of them, they're willing to try new. But sometimes you can walk in there and you look and it just, nothing seems to jump out. I don't know if it needs to have, neon flashing lights on it or what. But
well, a cigar that I love that we can never get, and I hope you have some, is the LFD Cabinet 5 or 6.
Don't think I have any right now, to be honest with you.
We've been out for some time in Abilene, but what I love about that cigar is the construction's great. The wrapper is just a real oily, thick Maduro wrapper, and but I always say, you're saying about flashy labels, or it doesn't have a band at all.
Right.
So it's like that doesn't draw me. What draws me is that beautiful cigar.
Yeah.
But I know in today's market, everybody's trying to come out with these new fancy bands that draws your attention because it's so competitive.
Oh yeah, and like I say, the band, if you start looking at just bands themselves, there's some just gorgeous artwork on them.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that I had been told that there was, one of the band companies is based like out of France. It's either France or England.
Okay.
That actually make cigar bands for a lot of the cigar manufacturers.
Well, I was talking to a guy who does a boutique cigar, and they have a whole shop in Honduras that does the labels, the boxes, the packaging, and it's a one-stop shop, and they do some really nice work. In fact, I compliment him because, if you're going to make a good cigar, I think it deserves a well-dressed band if you're going to put a band on it.
Right.
And so I asked him, I was like, where'd you get those at? And he said, there's a Honduras company that makes them, and they were pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So.
But, yeah, I love learning all the new stuff. So what here in Lubbock do most of your clientele, or do you see, them leaning towards one cigar or one brand? Or
Man, I tell you, years, 5-6 years ago, yes, we had like one or two top selling cigars. But just now, with the influx of so many good cigars coming out of Nicaragua, it seems to kind of leveled it out. We don't have a number one seller anymore.
really just kind of spread out?
It's spread out. Yeah.
Well, you carry Perdomo?
Yes. Yep.
That's one of my favorite cigars, just because it's almost perfect every time. Great construction, and they've got a great line. So they're one of my favorites. And then, do y'all carry the? My father's my other favorite line.
Oh yeah, we carry a full line of my father's, and also Perdomo. If you ought to talk with Bill or whoever, that once a year Perdomo usually does like a factory tour, and they invite consumers
Really?
to go tour their factory. It costs you like $450 for the 4 nights you're there. You got to cover your airfare
Sure.
to Nicaragua, and then it's like $450. And in fact, this next I believe it's next Thursday, that I've got a group of 4 of my customers that are going on their factory tour.
So is it a whole week?
It's like 4 days.
What I mean, it's like 1 week of the year that they do that for actual consumers?
Yeah, and for this region, the way that Perdomo does it, they'll give so many slots to their salesmen.
Oh, okay.
And so it's that salesman, like in this area, would invite, tell each store owner you can, invite, 3-4 people each.
Well, I'm
And
definitely
it's
going to have
usually-
to talk to Bill about that.
Yeah, in fact, it was 3 years ago that myself and Bill went on that factory tour.
Well, he's told me about the trip, and he loved it.
Yeah.
He said just seeing the way that they actually do the whole process and how much love that family puts into their business is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And Perdomo itself, I mean, from the putting that seed into the ground until it gets in the consumer's hands, I mean, they are 100% vertical. They, like I say, they grow the seedlings, they hand plant them in the fields. I mean, the tobacco is, harvested. They have their curing barns on their properties. They go through the fermentation on theirs. They have their own box factory. They build their boxes.
Really?
Yeah, on site.
So they do it all.
Oh, 100%. It's 100% vertical.
When Bill was saying that everyone who's in the family works at the farm or cigar-related part of the business.
Yeah, they typically will kind of be the grunt guy to start out with, and they start out at the bottom, and so they know every aspect.
Learn their way up.
Yep.
That's amazing. Do you have cigar events in the shop here, like monthly, every other month?
We right now we're going to have we basically have them monthly.
Okay.
Our first one, we usually don't do one December, January, February, just because the weather's so fickle.
Right, especially in Lubbock.
Yes, yeah. And in March, we'll have a Kenny Bora with General Cigar. He's going to be the first one out here.
Okay.
And
when is that going to be? Do you remember?
I believe it is like the 24th of March. And then in April, I've got, I believe it's La Roma de Cuba. Going to do an event, and that's the first part of April. I think the third week of April, we just started carrying a line of cigars called DBL. It's Dominican Big League.
Oh, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, it's a fairly new one. And the owner is going to be in the shop.
Oh, great.
He's coming in. We're going to do kind of a kickoff, and he actually rolls cigars. So
oh, wow.
He'll be rolling cigars on site.
Well, I may have to come up here for that. What day of the week is that on?
That'll be on a Thursday.
Thursday, perfect.
Yeah, I typically like doing my events on Thursday because we're out here in West Texas. Thursday we do the events, and that gives Friday that salesman a chance to drive back home because they're usually from the Metroplex.
Right.
If we did them on Fridays, then they kind of get
Cuts
screwed
into
on
their
their
weekend. Sure.
So I kind of look at that, and I think that.
It's what I love about the cigar industry in a whole is because everybody is considerate of everyone else.
Yeah, that's true. That rolling event with that DBL cigars, the 25th of April. It's on a Thursday. So.
Well, I'll have to put that on my calendar.
Yep.
I'd love to come up for that.
So that'll be a good one, and then another one in May, and then June. We've got one that's a little bit. It's got a little twist on it. It's going to be with Crown Heads. Most of the Crown Head cigars are actually made by My Father Cigar as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but on the Crown Head event, our salesman Brian McGee out of I believe he's out of McKinney. He'll be here, and if you buy a box of cigars, he'll cook you a ribeye steak on site.
Have y'all done that before?
We haven't done that.
I've heard somebody did that before, and I was like, I got to get in on that.
Yeah. It's what he's calling a meet and greet. You buy a box, and he'll say, "How do you want your steak? Mid-rare to whatever," and he'll go out there and cook it.
Very nice. How much longer do you think you're going to be in the business? I told you, well, we both know Bill's going to be retiring here shortly. How much longer do you see yourself in the business?
Probably until I die.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
So you still enjoy it and you're having a good time?
Oh yeah. I mean, the industry as a whole. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better industry. Everybody tries to work together. As far as the consumers, I mean, man, they're like family. You
absolutely.
Just get to know them. So I have no real desire to retire. I've got 2 kids. I've got a son that's right at 30 and a daughter just turned 21. She's going to Baylor right now. But I think that at one point they wouldn't mind having their hand in it a little bit.
I see.
Right now our daughter, she takes care of all of the social media.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it works out nice. It was about a year ago she called and she's like, "Hey Dad, what's the password to the store Instagram, Facebook pages?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, you suck at it." and I'm going to take it over, and she's done a pretty good job at it. So
that's great.
Yeah, and when we do events now, we'll take pictures and have those posted. But we share, myself and daughter, we share a Gmail email account, and so when I take the pictures, they automatically go to that.
Oh, okay.
That Gmail account, and she puts them up instantly.
Oh, that's great.
So, and if I was doing it, they might be up in 3 or 4 weeks after the event.
Right.
So.
Well, it's nice to have somebody that can do that, that wants to do that.
Yeah. It's nice. And then our son, when we have events, he's always here to help. We put in a POS system a couple of years ago, and he's my IT guy.
Oh, nice.
And so, like I say, both kids are involved in it pretty heavily.
I see. When does your daughter graduate?
She's will finish this semester and then has 1 more year to go.
So is she majoring in social media and marketing, or what is she doing?
No, she's her major is in social work.
Okay. So she just looked at your page and said, "I could do better."
Yeah, and a lot better.
Very nice.
Yeah, and what was funny, we have one of our customers. He owns an advertising agency. He had came in and he asked. He said, "Hey, who's doing y'all social media?" And I said, "I'm a daughter. Why?" And he goes, "Well, it's looking a lot better than it ever has before." I'm like, all right, so I really did suck. So.
Well, that's good. Do you do like events other than like cigar reps coming in? Do y'all have like a pipe club, a cigar club? Because I know that some of the listeners to the show have actually reached out to me and told me that this is their shop.
Yeah. Oh, there's with the Tech Police Department. There's a guy named Randy Baker.
It is Randy Baker.
Yeah, there's Randy has brought in a group. It's called Smoking Shields, and it's basically like a fraternity of men or women in law enforcement that smoke cigars. They have a chapter here, and they have monthly meetings. In fact, last night they had their meeting up here.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, but we host their meetings. Just open up the shop for them, just whatever they need.
Well, I know you're a big pipe smoker too.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're smoking as far as your pipes right now.
Pipes, we've got several of our house blended tobaccos. One of my favorite is called Mountain Mist. It's a golden and toasted Cavendish blended together. It's got a light vanilla flavor to it, so it puts off a great aroma.
Have you heard of it's a rope and it's coconut?
That one I'm not familiar with.
Well, you need to call Bill because he's just raving about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
Bill likes his pipes.
Oh,
And,
man.
So,
Bill's really more of a pipe guy than he is a cigar guy, but I
Mm-hmm.
force him to smoke cigars on a regular basis.
yeah. Like I say, Bill, he'll come up here. He likes to travel a little bit.
Oh, he likes to travel a lot.
And he'll come up here and kind of look over our tobaccos, and he knows like the codes on the bottom of the can and all that, which I don't. And he was picking up some. This goes back a few years ago, and he's like, do you know how old this is? And I'm like, no, I don't. And he goes, yeah, it's like in the 80s. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
And so and I told him, I said, well, if it's that old, it's probably dry. And he's like, I'll take it, and I can make it good. So he took it.
And he loves doing that kind of stuff, you know. And, you know, the funny thing about Bill is he's in the shop every day, Monday through Friday. And then when he travels, you know what he does? He goes to shops everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. He likes to go check out other stores. But yeah, as far as him being in the shop, you know, every day, I think that's not unusual for
Small mom and pop.
Yeah, you
shops.
gotta go in there. You know, I'm here 7 days a week.
Wow.
And like I say, I'll get here early, and I can do the book work, and then I can sit and read the paper and kind of chill out.
And plus, you get to see people and, you know, talk with your customers. And I mean, the cigar industry is not like most industries where your customers come in, buy their stuff, and leave. Mm-hmm. They come in, sit down, smoke a cigar. Next thing you know their life history. It becomes family.
Yeah. I mean, and you build relationships with them, and most of the family or customers that come through the door, they want to see the owner. They like to see the proprietor of the business. And
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And you know, the customer can come in and, you know, be talking, and, you know, even bring up a cigar that maybe we don't carry.
Sure.
And most of the shop owners will sit and listen to that customer and make every effort to get that cigar.
Absolutely.
So.
And, you know, that's one of the reasons we started this show, because I was going around doing like reviews on shops on a blog. Mm-hmm. And after doing it for about 4 or 5 different cigar shops, I was like, I want to do a podcast because I want people to experience what I'm experiencing, getting to know owners of all these shops. Right. Because I think people really want to know who started the shop, know about that person, because you don't have that opportunity in very many businesses.
No. See, it is. I think the tobacco industry is a totally different industry and retail business from, you know, I can't think of anything that comes close to it.
Well, you know, if you were not a cigar enthusiast or a pipe smoker and you were listening to our show, you'd probably think that I'm just full of crap because I'm always talking about how it's family, the community, and it's just, you know, an amazing group of people. And so if you didn't smoke cigars or pipes and you're not in that community, you'd think that I'm just blowing smoke.
Right.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But it is a special community, and so that's one of the reasons I enjoy doing this, because not only do I get to meet a lot of shop owners and cigar makers, but then whenever I'm at the shop afterwards, I always get to hang out and talk to your customers. Right. And there's a lot of gems in that too, you know.
Yeah, and you know, you can have people from 2 opposite walks of life. You know, you could have your typical lawyer, always dressed up, you know, do the T's, very respectful. I don't know why I use lawyer for that term, and then you might have a biker bandito that's tatted up,
or
sleeves,
or a trucker, or a sanitation worker, or a golf pro.
Yeah, but once they walk into that shop, they all have something in common. And that's that cigar in their hand.
Absolutely. And, you know, I was up in Temple a few weeks ago, and I was at the hotel, so I went downstairs and went out on the patio and was smoking a cigar by myself. And within 10, 15 minutes, a guy walks by and says, "Hey, man, where'd you get that cigar?" And next thing I know, we visit for like 30, 45 minutes. He's writing down my phone number. He wants to listen to the show. It's just that automatic bond that you have that you wouldn't have in any other field that I could think of.
Yeah, and that's what makes this whole industry so good.
Anyway, man, well, that sounds like a great business you have going on here. I can't wait to come back for a couple of your events. I'm excited about that, and being that it's on Thursday, I can come.
Yeah.
So that works out good for me.
All right.
So I want to thank you so much for being on the show and taking the time to talk to us. Before we go, though, I wanted to find out and let our listeners know how they can find you on social media.
Okay. We've got a website. It's Smokers LTX for Lubbock, Texas .com. Instagram also is Smokers LTX.
Okay.
And also the Twitter is the same, Smokers LTX.
And I'll put a link on my website. For Instagram, I'm cigar_talk_podcast, and I'll have a link on my webpage. So if you go to my webpage, I'll have a link to your shop with the episode that we have on the air.
Okay, sounds like a deal.
Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you
bet.
so much, John. And
You
thank
bet.
you. Thank you for this great cigar.
All right, hope you like it.
Oh, I do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and this week on Cigar Talk, we have a special edition. It's from the Cigar Man Official, the tip of the week. How you doing today, Cigar Man Official?
Doing awesome, buddy. Doing awesome.
So before we get to your tip, tell me what you've been smoking tonight.
Well, tonight I tried a Cuban cigar. Well, it's a Remembering Cuba, so it's not quite a Cuban, but it smokes like a Cuban that I got recommended by a very good friend of mine.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
Rob, you sent me this cigar, and I'm like addicted to it now. So I'm looking forward to getting some more.
Well, and I'll tell everyone that I smoked one of those earlier. It's a great cigar. If you get the opportunity, go by Remember Cuba website. They have great cigars, and I highly recommend them. So if you get that opportunity, I know most people haven't heard about them, but they really are good cigars. Christian down there in Florida is the blender and the manufacturer of those cigars, and he's a really nice guy. So if you get the opportunity, check him out. But let's get back to Cigar Man Official. He's got a tip of the week for the new cigar enthusiast. So lay it on us, Mr. Cigar Man Official. What you got?
Well, very prominent man in my life that mentored me in the cigar aficionado trade. His name was Murray Goldman. And he never saw him without a cigar. And he taught me early on how to properly cut a cigar with a guillotine cutter. And I thought I was doing a good job, but I was cutting off way more than I should have. So he taught me a little trick that I never forgot, but and I don't use it as much anymore because I'm pretty good at it. But it really helped me out when I was starting out. Was to any really decent guillotine cutter. If you lay it flat on a table and you place the cigar in the guillotine cutter and you place it on, to the length of the table and you cut it, you're going to get a perfect cut. And so most people don't know that they're made that way. So you never want to cut off too much. So you just place it on the table, place the cigar in there and cut it. And you're going to get a perfect cut every time.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. What's the consequences of cutting off too much?
Well, what's happening is every cigar maker puts a cap on their cigars, and when you cut too much of it off, you're actually smoking more of the binder in there and the filler versus the cap. The cap is really what is going to give you that experience of smoking a nice cigar. So you don't want to cut too much off, but it's a fine art. And this is one way you can go wrong.
Some of the caps are bigger than others, so you have a little more leeway, and then some of them are pretty actually thin. So you do have to take a look at that cap before you cut it. And I'll tell you this, back whenever I didn't know a whole lot about cigars, I cut a few I cut way too much off, and I didn't know any better. And the other thing that happens when you cut too much is that the cigar tends to unravel on you. The wrapper will start unraveling. So another tip I will give you is, I know some people like to take the bands off, but I've found that if you leave that band on right up until you get the heat to the band, that band actually serves a purpose, and not just to be decorative or nice looking, but it also helps hold that wrapper together so it doesn't unravel on you. So between making a good cut like what you've told us and keeping that band on, it will really help protect your cigars from unraveling on you.
And what I've also learned is the heat, if you keep the wrapper on, the heat, when it gets to that level, when you're getting near the wrapper, it actually loosens the glue in there, so it'll come off a lot nicer. If you try to take the wrapper off too early, you'll actually peel off the wrapper with the band.
Now, let me ask you this. And I know you've smoked Romacraft.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm a huge supporter of Romacraft. I love their cigars. I think they do quality work, great flavors, nice assortment on their line, lots of different sizes. So, you know, I'm a huge Romacraft fan. But I will say this. Here's the one thing that drives me and lots of other people nuts about Romacraft is the band is horrible as far as trying to remove it. It's a 2-layer band, and the first band will come off decently easy, but then that next layer of band, it's a nightmare to get off. So Romacraft, if you ever listen to this show, we would like to know why you make a band that's so hard to get off. Now, the Easter egg that some people may not know on a Romacraft band is that when you peel that first layer of band off, the white band, which if you look at it in the light, kind of tilting it back and forth, you can actually see embossed art all the way around the band, and it's like hieroglyphics. And so, like, there's skulls and Neanderthals and different art. So, I mean, there is something cool about the band, but Romacraft, let's make it a little easier for everybody to take the band off, please.
Absolutely. And if you don't know what an Easter egg is, it's a surprise. Basically, it's something that not everybody knows about, but something you want to discover on your own. And it's awesome.
So what you're saying is I just ruined it for everyone.
You did, but it's cool.
Well, hey, man, we really appreciate your tip of the week, and we'll be talking to you next week, so come up with something good for everybody. We're looking forward to all the tips you have, and just hope you stay smoking all week, my friend.
Light them up, baby.
Absolutely. Hey, take care, man. We'll talk to you later. Okay, guys, it's time for Cigar of the Week, and this week I'm going with the Warped Guardian of the Farm. It's a great medium smoke. It's very well constructed. I like most of the cigars that Warped makes, but the Guardian of the Farm, I love having it with a good cup of coffee, morning or afternoon. It really has some good complex flavors. It's smooth, and it's a good smoke. So try it out and let me know what you think. And then I want to say thank you for Cigar Man Official for providing our tip this week. We appreciate that. And let's go ahead and get to the question of the week and see who wins this VBS London 3-finger leather carry case for your cigars. This week's question is, what year did Bill Bender make the pros in golf? If you can tell me that first, go to the website, click on the contact link, send me an email about when Bill Bender made the pros, and you will be the winner of the 3-finger VBS leather carry case. Next week we have Billy from Viva La Vida Cigars. It's a brand new release that just came out this week. We're going to be talking to him next week, and I can't wait to have him on the show. And then we'll have another special guest, which is Paul Allen, the author of When Tobacco Was King. We'll be speaking to another brother of the leaf, or perhaps a sister of the leaf, in the BOTL segment of the show. And so I think that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed it, and until we see you next time, stay smoking, my friends.